online English class. Hey students, welcome back to the online English classes. In today's class, we are going to continue with our discussion of the chapter Rip Van Winkle. Before starting our discussion, let us first have a look at the summary of all the important points that were discussed in the previous video. So in the very beginning we saw that Rip Van Winkle is a short story written by Washington Irving. If you watch the video once again, you'll find that we also talked about the birth, death, and the important works of Washington Irving. Next, we saw that the story is about a man who was very lazy and who lived at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains. And at last, we discussed that he was a kind man who was loved by people of all ages. Now, what was the reason behind this? The elder people loved Rip Van Winkle because he was a very good neighbor and he was very helpful. And the little children loved him because he was very playful and he used to fly kites with them, shoot marbles, and he also told them long stories. The only problem with Rip was that he was very lazy. Yes, we already discussed about this, right? He was a good man, he was a helpful man, he was a playful man. He had all good qualities. But the only problem, and in fact the biggest problem with Rip, was that he was very lazy. Yes, he did no work on his farm and just idle away his time. So you see students, since this person lived in a village, and as we already know that in villages people own farms, so Rip Van Winkle also owned a farm, but he did no work on it. Yes, he just wasted away his time. The word idle is written here. Let us see the meaning. The word idle means spending time doing nothing. In other words, it's also called wasting time. You can see in the picture, the boy or the man is not doing anything. He's just getting fat, is probably watching a TV because he holds a remote in his hand and there's just food scattered all around him. It just suggests that he's sitting idle, doing nothing productive. So, Rip was a lazy man who did no work on his farm and who wasted his time. His fences were falling to pieces. If you have a farm, then you would also have a fence around it. Let us see what is the meaning of the word fences. Fences is the plural form of the word fence, and it means a barrier or railing, typically of wood or wire, enclosing an area. So students, as you can see in the picture, the barrier or the railing here is neither made of wood nor of wire. It looks as if it is made up of iron. So there are various ways in which people can make fences. Okay, and what is the basic purpose of having a fence? It encloses an area. It protects an area. Okay, so the fence that we are talking about in the chapter Rip Van Winkle is around his house or around the farmland that he has. His fences were falling to pieces. In other words, it means his fences were getting destroyed. Yes, because Rip did not take enough care of them. So you see, anything inside or outside your house has to be taken care of or should be maintained on a regular basis. So, and as we already know, Rip was a lazy man. He did no such thing. That is why his fences were falling to pieces. His cow was going astray. Now, the word astray is a bit different for you, and let us first see what it means. The word astray means to move away from the correct path or direction. Just look at the picture and you'll have a good idea about the word. The cows that you can see here, do you think this is a place where they are supposed to be? No, they're not supposed to be on a road which is full of vehicles. Yes, so just like this, Rip's cows also went astray. Why? Because there was no proper fencing around his farm. We have seen that Rip faced two problems. At first we saw that his fences were falling to pieces, and as a result of that, his cow was going astray. Now let's see the next part. Weeds grew on his farm. Let us first see the meaning of the word weeds. Weeds are undesirable plants that grow in the fields naturally along with other crops. So the word undesirable means something that you don't want. Okay, so in the picture you can see along with this particular plant that has this round leaves, there are also other, grasses are there. Yes, so the grasses are undesirable. For example, if you have a farm or if you are doing a cultivation of any particular kind of a crop or any particular seeds that you have sown, you will not want other things to come in between. Yes, be that a grass, be that a flower, nothing. So any undesirable plant, any plant that you don't want at that point of time is called a weed. Rip's constant companion was his dog named Wolf. Now students, you have to be careful here. Names of two animals have been used in this sentence. One is a dog, another is a wolf. So here we are talking about the dog whose name is Wolf. We are not talking about the animal wolf. Okay, so do not get confused, and if this question comes in your exam, don't write wolf instead of dog. Alright, let us see the meaning of the word companion. A companion is a person or animal with whom one spends a lot of time or with whom one travels. So a companion is like a friend or a person who gives you company, a person or an animal. Yes, in the picture you can see that this dog is a good companion to the little girl as she seems to enjoy the company of this dog. Yes, and in our chapter also in Rip Van Winkle, Rip's companion was the dog whose name was Wolf. So, to avoid work, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. Alright, so since he lived in a village which was at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains, naturally that place would be surrounded by forests as well. Okay, so to avoid work, just so that he didn't have to do anything, what did he do? He would walk away into the forest with his dog. One day, Rip just walked on and reached the highest part of the mountains. Okay, so he just forgot the timing, and along with his companion Wolf, what did Rip do? He just went on walking, and where did he reach? He reached the highest part of the mountains. It was late in the afternoon when he reached there. Okay, so he must have started in the morning, and it took him almost half a day to reach the highest part of the mountain. Alright, and tired after his long climb, he lay down and began daydreaming. So naturally, you have to understand that if a person starts walking from the morning and he goes on walking till late in the afternoon, that person would definitely be very tired. Yes, so just because he was very tired, he decided to take rest and he decided to lay down and he began daydreaming. What is daydreaming? The word daydreaming means indulging in a daydream. Okay, so we generally dream when we are sleeping, but when we are not sleeping and still thinking about something, we are daydreaming. If you see the picture, you will find out that this looks like a classroom where all the students are busy with their studies, but there's this little girl in the center who is smiling at something. She is probably looking outside the window and just thinking about something. Okay, so she is indulging in a daydream. And who is a daydreamer? It is a person who often thinks about doing something else or being somewhere else instead of paying attention to what is happening to them in the present condition. Alright, so students, you must have also heard about this word many times when you are in the school, or you must have heard this from your teachers. Yes, so when you are physically present in a place but mentally you are transported to a different place, or you are thinking, or for example, pujas are coming, Durga Puja. So your teacher is teaching you something, but instead of paying attention to that, you are thinking of how you are going to spend the puja, what food you are going to eat, what clothes you are going to wear. Okay, so this means that you are daydreaming. It was soon evening and he realized it would be night by the time he reached his village. So after he fell asleep and he stopped daydreaming, he woke up and saw that it was evening now. And he also realized that it would be night by the time he reached his village. So students, here is a bit of calculation. You must remember that Rip had started his journey in the morning and he reached the mountain at late in the afternoon. Yes, so it took him many hours to cover this journey. Now if he has to get down, it will naturally take him again many hours to climb down the same mountain. Yes, that is why when he woke up, he saw that it was evening and he realized that it will be night by the time he reached his own village. And what happens after this, we'll see that in the next video. Now, let us have a quick recap of all the points that were discussed in today's video. In the very beginning, we saw that Rip Van Winkle was a very lazy man who always wasted his time. He never took care of the fencing around his home. He never took care of his cow or the weeds that grew in his farm. He was very close to his dog, Wolf. Now students, once again a reminder, do not get confused with the words dog and wolf. Here we are talking about only one animal, and that is a dog. The name of this dog is Wolf. We are not talking about any animal, Wolf. Together, they went into the forest to spend their time. So what did Rip do? Instead of doing any work, he used to spend the time in a forest along with his favorite companion. On one such trip, Rip got exhausted from his climb and decided to take rest for a while. So he had climbed up a mountain and he reached the highest part of the mountain, and because of all that, and due to that journey, he got so very exhausted that he decided to take rest. Now it's time for some questions. Question number 1. What did Rip do to avoid work? Number 2. What are the things that Rip never took care of? Number 3. Why did Rip decide to lay down? Number 4. Where did Rip reach after his climb? So these are very easy questions and I hope you'll have no difficulty in answering these questions. And even if you face any problem, do read the book and the chapter thoroughly. Also go through the video once again. With this, we come to the end of our discussion on today's video. So we'll continue with the next part in the subsequent videos. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.